when I am daily sitting with the vision of the spirit of Igor, I ask for the ways for prayer, mantra, and ways to flow in my heart in devotion. As I begin and finish for that session, to allow my mind to give in and my heart to flow beyond the daily physical, yet grounded in the now. Question: may we speak of prayer, prayer that further deepens me along the work of the heart, that flows, yet it is very needed to bow into in order to pass the mind. In other words, how to pray. Blessed we be. Who was it that said? I think that is attributed to the Meister Eckhart. If only our prayer would be just that, thank you, that would suffice. Something along these lines. And of course, between that, simplicity of sincerity, simplicity of whatever that is being expressed, there are intricacies of how one can relate to the aspect of one's higher consciousness and higher reality. What could be confusing for some is that personal aspect that mentioned here, because there's my name is being mentioned in the first sentence. And to avoid misunderstanding is that, of course, it is not that the connection to the physical or embodied being, that it is that important. It is simply what makes it easier, more convenient even. Convenient not from the utilitarian point of view, but convenient as in terms of, let's say, if there are different pathways to navigate our journey, there is a different pathways to walk. This path is more easier to walk because of certain approachable qualities of that path. And that's what it allows. That saguna aspect, that with the form, versus nirguna, without the form. But the question here is in relation to the prayer of the heart and looking for that, seeking the prayer of the heart. As the question asks, in other words, how to pray. There are many different and many beautiful prayers. But it's not in how eloquent the prayer itself is. All that it matters is what spontaneously flows from the heart, that truly moves and creates, truly moves the heart itself and creates these waves in our own field, which allow our otherwise constantly moving mind to repose and dissolve in more heartfelt qualities. This is one of the reasons of the prayer and the role of the prayer in contemplative traditions. the role of the player and the place of the prayer is not so much in eloquently addressing the divine, the guru aspect, the God, the absolute, our own self, from the capital S, from any elaborate mental or intellectual stand view, but the very opposite of that. The very opposite of that. In fact, the quality of the prayer and the place of the prayer is to stop the mind, to arrest the mind, to give mind a break, to dissolve the mind, to let the mind simply sink into the transcendence through that fine waves that emanate from the heart, whilst at the same time taking it back into the heart. So this is a very fine question and requires a fine understanding and equally fine hearing. Let you evoke your own prayer. Let your prayer come from that place of surrender. And let your prayer be always spontaneous. That will reassure its sincerity. Yes, there are prayers which are on par and equal to a discipline. Yes, there are places in contemplative traditions for a prayer which are like a rehearsed verses, like steps of the classical dancer, like the footwork of a great martial artist, like the movement of the hand of the calligrapher. But all this, essentially, is for the purpose of arising to a spontaneous state where prayer is our way of being. This is also what I hope you have had the glimpses when you were with us in California this year. That this path is not the path of some rigid practices, though it doesn't shy away from discipline and discipline approaches. But this path is a path of spontaneous improvisation. And you know very well that only an accomplished dancer can move in spontaneous cadence. Only an accomplished dancer can truly allow the flight of imagination to take us beyond the tried and tested and beyond the way it should move. Let your prayer be that, freeing yourself from any limitations, and let your prayer be that. Then, and only then, we can speak of the prayer from the place you are asking. No, I cannot give this now a textbook. There are, of course there are many beautiful, amazing, very inspiring, beautiful prayers out there. From Rig Vedic hymns to the surahs of the Quran. There are beautiful prayers out there to recite. And they're beautiful on the tongue and on the ear. But I don't have them to give you. I want your heart to invoke your own. And I only only here. Encourage you to go with the flow of that process, so that in the question that you ask is like whatever that held you, let these limitations be released. Let your heart be immersed in the prayer that your heart already is, and let that emanate, and let that absorb everything back into itself, and let that be the highest prayer.